Please watch this video and correct me if I'm wrong. That's subject because you once were chosen over someone else. Do not depend whole of your masculinity to that one specific incident and turn a blind eye to the whole possible harms and unhealthy things which can come with today's so-called alpha male behavior. Don't fall prey to the idea that in order to prove your manliness you need to impress her and make her regret, and in order to do so you just have to do whatever she likes, however she likes, or else you're not man enough. While doing that, you might also not let her know what you're preparing because of the shock value, and doing nothing else other than that. But why instead of doing something for the society? Why are you doing something that is only going to impress her? Maybe you get angry to the groupie kind of women because you might have thought about a case where you unintentionally end up marrying with one who doesn't love you or sleep with you only once in a month because she slept with a lot of rock stars or jogs when she was 18. I know it sounds pretty bad, and it is bad, but just because you don't want to be that person doesn't mean you becoming the other person who sleeps with a lot of women make it less bad, or you'll just be ready for it. Maybe the very reason you tried to sleep with all these women and maybe even mark them with your sexual kinks is to avoid being with a woman that doesn't love you and doesn't respect or serve you as she did way back when she was with all these other dudes. But what she's done was wrong and unhealthy, and you can't avoid that by sleeping with all the women that you can. You being the pimp won't save you from being cheated. On the contrary, your subconscious will even get more stressed because now you yourself are the slut creator. Only way to live a moral life is not by mastering the immoral things, it is by avoiding them, whatever happens. Even if your wife cheats you, you'll always have the right to say that what she done was wrong and you deserve better. But if you yourself do that slut-creating behavior, you're robbing yourself out from that right. Don't see music, art, or such things as manliness problems. There is no bigger simpness than being a successful person not for the world and the greater good, but to trick women into believing that you are the best one. I'm not saying you shouldn't demand a loving, loyal woman, but if your woman's loyalty is based on your achievements, or your albums, or your movies, or your money, anything that is made by you, not what makes you, then she is not a good choice, and don't waste your time or don't get upset over them. The real masculinity is stopping injustice and fighting for a better, stronger, more peaceful and healthier society, thinking like a dad and trying to create a world that children can play joyfully and peacefully. A man that is only believes in committed relationships and love, rather than open relationships and devaluation of sex. A man that isn't afraid to talk about the degeneracy of the world because of his superstitions. A man that is ready to save the world by speaking up, both for himself and for his enemies. Because in reality, there is no enemy or a bad person, only ignorant people who hurt themselves. Maybe someone did something to you, and that emasculated you. But before you accuse yourself with being guilty, make sure if they were the ones to blame first. Going hard on yourself when you shouldn't want make you a better man. On the contrary, it will diminish it because that means unjust people can manipulate you. Don't fall prey for the need of proving yourself to the women who are teasing you with cheating or dumping you by hinting things like, if you're not into drugs or polygamistic behavior you're less of a man. You're not. Unfortunately, some people believe such things are what makes a man. If you ask me, speak up for them. Don't let them hurt themselves and people around them which they attract them to their circle by teasing them. If you look to the gender and the sexiness of the person who demands you for something rather than the truth, it won't matter how rich and tough you do that act, you're still a simp, and that is the real emasculation of you. You shouldn't be with someone that her royalty can be bought by Bugattis and mansions, or albums, or art. Doesn't matter. If you just be a proud Instagram story, if your lover is only proud of you because she can show other girls how famous or how niche or how talented or how rich you are, her love isn't coming from heart, it is coming with a price. Wanting to give all the people a luxurious and a fun life is one thing. Fearing that your line will be endangered if some other man has that kind of a life besides you is another thing. It isn't your fault that you might be fearing that kind of things, and because of that fear you might been trying to force yourself into open relationships or cuckold kind of behaviors, but they are all unhealthy. Both for the nature of sex, which demands commitment, because nature made sex enjoyable because of having a child, and you can't raise a good child without commitment. And also for neurological hormones, sex doesn't only release dopamine, it also releases oxytocin and vasopressin. We should educate ourselves about the basis of our love and evolution of it, conscience, and the sexual morality, and then we should communicate and debate about it more to get more and more into it.